Hello and welcome to Headstrong. This is my final bonus episode of this series, which is coined An Innings With. And it involves me, Louis Strong, the host of this show, interviewing and chatting to a number of cricketers to talk to them about their lives and their careers, but notably their vulnerabilities, to understand what the word headstrong means to them. This series is sponsored by McGill and Partners and Ascot, and thank you to them for their incredibly generous support throughout this series. We are also supporting the wonderful Ruth Strauss Foundation, which I will explain in further detail later on in the podcast. On this final bonus episode of Headstrong, I am joined with one absolute legend, a West Indies legend no less, and possibly one of the most famous cricketing moments, purely for banter, you can possibly remember. Mind the windows, Tino. Yep, you guessed it. I am joined by Tino Best. We had a chat across the Atlantic. He was in Barbados and I was here in the UK, and we chatted about his time growing up in the West Indies, what that was like and what it was like getting into cricket, his family life and how important it is to surround yourself with positive, wonderful individuals, and his cricket career. I really hope you enjoy this episode of Headstrong. Alrighty. Tino, thank you very much for joining me on Headstrong. I appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. What's up, brother?
Not a lot is going down. So where are you at the moment? Because it looks sunny where you are.
Yeah, I'm in Barbados. This is where I live. This is where I reside in beautiful Barbados, man.
Yes. I mean, I've spent some time in Barbados and it is beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I'm in Christchurch, just above Oistings. This is where I live and stuff, where my family is.
Yeah. I am very, very jealous of you. I'm not going to lie to you. But the English summer is coming. But yeah, what I'm going to do, I reckon, is I want to just rewind and take things right from the beginning, if that's cool.
No problem, brother.
And talk chronologically about you. You were born and raised in Barbados, yeah?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Barbados. Yeah, man. My half of my family, well, my grandfather migrated in the Windrush, and he started the whole family up there. So I have some of my family, have maybe about 20, 25 family members in England, and the rest are here in Barbados.
How do you reflect on your childhood then? What was childhood like for you in Barbados growing up?
Man, it was amazing. Man, like I think the thing for me as a kid growing up, I had an uncle who played cricket for West Indies, Carlisle Best, who scored a Test 100 against England and a one-day 100 against England as well. So I grew up in a household of awesome people. My grandmother, her 5 daughters, including my mom. So my childhood was absolutely amazing. When I tell people about my childhood, they get jealous. But my childhood was awesome. I never had anything traumatic happen to me as a kid. So that's something that I am grateful for. You know, I know people have a lot of toughness growing up, and they don't have a very good childhood, but I was one of those that was blessed to have a really good childhood.
Yeah, for sure. You had a strong group and set of women that helped bring you up. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, for sure. My grandmother and her 5 daughters, my mother included. My mother was more my father, so she was more the disciplinarian. But the other 5 women were like my mother's, my aunt, my 4 aunts. They were amazing. My grandmother, she was like, the matriarch of the family. She made sure that I focus on my studying, on my cricket. She bought me my first cricket shoes. So I have a very strong bond with those women. My dad wasn't around. My dad suffered with an addiction, crack cocaine for a long time, and he's good now. And me and my father, we have a fantastic relationship. I love my dad, and he wasn't there for me, but I had so much love around me that I can't hate my dad or say, I don't want to talk to you, Dad, because you weren't there for me as a kid. I kind of understand his journey, and everybody got to go through their journey. So that's something that I never held it against my dad, and I'm happy now.
So did you not see him when you were younger?
No, not at all. I first met my dad in my consciousness, my dad was around me when I was young. Like my mom and my dad, they explain, he was in my life until I was about 5 years old. And then him himself and my mom, they didn't get along well, and they broke it off. And he went into this whole spiral of his life. And the next time I saw my dad, it was about 6 years later. And then I realized, oh yes, this is my dad, and everything started to come back to me. Yes, the memories and everything came back, but I love my dad, man, but he wasn't there. And I mean, when I look back at life in my teenage years, because after that I went and joined the army when I was about 16 years old. I miss my dad. I think that if I had my dad around, it would have helped me tremendously, because boys need a dad, no matter what. They need someone that helped create them. I know sometimes it can affect you, or it can inspire you, but I think it was half and half for me. So I wish my dad was around, but he wasn't. And I still turn out to be a decent human being. So good stuff with my mom and my grandmother and them.
From the sporting perspective, then, from having that male figure around, was there anyone that you did look up to? Like, for example, your uncle. Was it your uncle that you were looking up to for that kind of sporting fatherly figure? Or, of course, you mentioned your mum being that disciplinarian father figure, but was there somebody else as well?
Yeah, I mean, my uncle was the number one. That's my hero. I mean, my uncle brought me around the Barbados and West Indies team in the late 80s and the 90s. So I grew up in the West Indies and the Barbados dressing room. So I knew exactly what it took to be a professional cricketer, because I was seeing it right there in front of me. My uncle was my first hero. He was someone I looked up to consistently for a long time. When I got about 20, when I made the big break in my career, Courtney Brown was someone that I absolutely loved, someone who took care of me and showed me the ropes of being a professional cricketer and being a professional man as well. In the BDS sports program, when I joined the Army program when I was about 16 and 9 months old, there were so many father figures in that program. I had a commander, Lieutenant Commander David Dorridge. I had Henderson Springer, who went on to be a West Indies coach. Still a Barbados cricket director now. I had so many people to look up to. So even though my father wasn't around, I was always associating myself with people who were great, who were going to help me live this dream, or who were going to help me to become a good human being.
So with that then, what is your earliest memory of cricket? Because of course, if you grew up in the dressing room, but what was your first ever memory?
My first memory of cricket, bro, was me being at primary school, and back in the Caribbean, we had these little transit radios, some little small radios that people used to put in their head. And I remember overhearing my class teacher saying, your uncle is like batting really well at Kensington Oval. And I was about 9 years old, about 9.5 going 10. And where my school was, it was my school, about half a mile away was my house, and then another half a mile was Kensington Oval. So I went through the cemetery. There was a shortcut. So I dashed through the cemetery and got to cricket after tea. My uncle was batting against England, and I studied the whole entire evening, and my uncle scored a test 100, and the people ran on the field, lift him up, hoist him up. And from that moment, I said I want to be a West Indian cricketer. So I was like 9 years old, and this was like my dream from that moment. I wanted to be like my uncle Carlisle Best. I remember walking back up the street, going back to my house, and walking amongst the crowds, and they were saying, "Oh my God, Carlisle batted so well today. You see how he hooked and he cut, oh God, and Viv." And just to hear the crowd talking about how phenomenal my uncle was, how awesome Viv was, I was like, wow, I am definitely going cricket tomorrow morning, which would have been a Saturday. And I am going to be in the dressing room. I'm going to see it firsthand. And that's what I want to do. So that was my first memory as a kid, saying, I want to be great. I want to play for West Indies. I wanted to be an opening batsman. And look what happened. I turned out to be an opening bowler.
Yeah.
So life. When things give you melons, you just make watermelon juice. You know what I mean? When life serves you limes, you make lemonade. So it didn't turn out to be an opening batsman, but it turned out to be an opening bowler. So I contributed.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I mean, everything I know about the Caribbean, there's a real competitiveness, which is like amazing, particularly in the islands as well. But as growing up as a kid, what was that competitiveness like trying to get into that cricket team, trying to be the opening batsman, trying to be the opening bowler? Was there like a competitiveness as individuals, or was there quite a supportive kind of atmosphere? Or is it a balance of both?
Well, before that whole competitiveness started, it started in my neighborhood. I wanted to be the best cricketer in my neighborhood. We used to play tape ball cricket, where we got the tennis ball and we tape the entire ball, and we play on hard road, so the ball like flies off. And I remember playing tape ball cricket and in the schoolyard, because where I live near a school as well. We call it St. Leonard's Secondary School, St. Leonard's Boys School. So we used to go in there on Sunday mornings, and we play from like 11 a.m. to like 3 p.m. in the evening. And this was like hand after hand. So I would play against the big men. Sometimes you get hit on your jaw, sometimes you get hit on your head. But I always have my protection. My mom never let me left the house without wearing my protective guard. And I used to go and play with the big men. And these guys were big, hard back men. I was like 9, 10 years old. And I wanted to dominate them. And sometimes when I didn't dominate it, I would cry. And they always loved that. They loved the fact that I always wanted to do well. So to earn their respect and to be competitive in my neighborhood was my first thing I had to do. I had to accomplish that. And then me and my best friend, Ryan Paul, we would get on our bicycles and we would ride around all the villages surrounding my neighborhood. And we would look for games. We were ride about on our bikes looking to play cricket every evening after school. So we used to do our homework. Or sometimes we didn't do our homework, we used to get in trouble because the evening time you're going looking to play games. And we were going to all the other neighborhoods and we tried to dominate that neighborhood. So that's why I started to build a reputation as Carly Best's nephew who can play cricket really good. And one day everyone said, "You're going to play for the West Indies. You're going to play, like, you got so much heart, you got so much passion, like you're so competitive." And then as I got older, I started to bowl, because sometimes I would get up quickly and I had to get a bat in. So you had to learn how to bowl as well. So you became an all-rounder. That's why a lot of people see me now and say, "Why didn't you become an all-rounder, Tino? Like, you can bat, bowl, and feel really good." Like, it's just, it didn't work out. I just started to love bowling more than batting. But that was the first competitive juices really started for me as a kid. I'm going to dominate my neighborhood, wanted to be the best cricketer in the surrounding neighborhoods. So when I was 16 and I joined the BDF, and I joined the BDF sports program, this is a program that has 5 disciplines. So if you read my book, I went in depth and told the reader exactly what the program is about. So you got boxing, you got athletics, you got football, you got cricket, and you got table tennis. So 5 disciplines. And what that does is, like, they go to communities around Barbados and they pick like the best young emerging talent or talent that just need guiding. You know what I mean? They speak to some of the boards, the table tennis board, the football association, and they get guys who are fringe players who are not in the actual national team, but guys who have the potential to get better. So I joined the BDF, and that was a whole different scenario. I had to be competitive, so I had to fight to get a starting job in the BDF, and I was a water boy for like 2 or 3 years. So this is how incredible this is. So between 1998 and 2001, no one never heard of me. I remember going to under 19 trials for Barbados, and I got kicked off the team because I turned up late. And it wasn't a fault of mine. It was that the Army didn't let you out of camp until 3:30 on the evening when practice starts at 3. They didn't care. But as I got to practice, I got kicked off the team, and that was heartbreaking for me. But I never let it deter me, because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I needed to do to get to be a first-class cricketer, to be a professional cricketer. And so I didn't play on the 15th for Barbados. I didn't play on the 19th for Barbados. And, clearly and truly, most players would have given up, and you would have gone over to the Army full-time, and you would say, "Look, I can just be a full-time soldier." But that wasn't for me. I wanted more. And I remember South Africa came in 2001, and we were net bowlers, and they were like 6 or 7 net bowlers because they like to use the guys from the army as the net bowlers because we were fitter and we could bowl longer. And they can get a better knock. So they're using us.
Yeah.
They were just using us. And I remember I was a little shorter than I am 5'8" now. Back in 2001, I was maybe 5'7". That was maybe an inch. I grew an inch. So I was about 19 years old at that time. I was going to be 20 that year because I'm going to be 40 this year. I was going to be 20 that year. So it's like 20 years ago. And I remember going into the nets, and the coach at the time gave me the ball, and he said, the fast bowlers, we want you here. The spinners, we're not ready for you yet. We're gonna deal with the fast bowlers. So Gary Kirsten, I ran up to bowl at Gary Kirsten, the great Gary Kirsten, and the first ball hit him in his head, and he smashed in the helmet, and he was like, "Wow!" And he checks the pitch, and he fixes his helmet, he checks the pitch, and then the other 4 guys come in and bowl, and he just smashes them, bam, 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 and then I came in the next ball, flew past him before he can react. The coach at the time was a bowling coach called Corey Van Zyl. He had this baseball mitt. First time I ever saw a baseball mitt around cricket. And as he goes to glove the ball busts through. And he's like, wow, this kid is genuinely quick. And then the next ball, I just beat Gary Kirsten for pace. It was like easy for me. And I remember Darren Cullinan calling me over. The coaches calling me like, have you ever been caught? I was like, no, I don't even get a play on a Saturday on a weekend for the army. I'm actually the water boy. I am a replay, like I'm always 12th or 13th man. I never really get an opportunity because there's the swing bowler, there's one of the guys who swings the ball more than me, there's one of the guys who get more bounce than me, and then sometimes we play 2 spinners, so most of the time I am 12th man or 13th man. But all the while, I am training. So even though I'm disappointed I'm not playing on a Saturday, I'm training every day. I take my frustration out in the gym, running, just being physically fit because I don't know. I don't know what I was preparing myself for, but God is good, brother. And I remember he said, you bowling over 90 miles an hour. And I was like, wow, like am I that quick? He's like, yes. There's Graham Ford. And he gets on television. And he basically says to the press, the most exciting prospect I've seen in the Caribbean, this little kid called Tino Best. Carly Best is his uncle, so I'm not sure if you guys can remember him as a little kid, but he is a 90-mile-an-hour bowler. You guys need to look after him. And everyone was like, what? Is he 90 miles an hour? Like, that's cricket. Walter's about to retire. This is 2001. So Walter's about to retire. We have Cameron Cuffey. We have Mervyn Dillon. We have, I can't remember who was the other, Rion King, maybe. Yeah, Rion King, Marlon Black. Rion King is 90 miles an hour. So they're like saying this kid is 90 miles away. How have we picked up on this kid yet? And I never played on a 19. You guys never give me an opportunity. So so that was April 2001. So I got invited to trials November 2001. If you read my book, bro, you would absolutely freak out. I have so much messages from people just saying this is an incredible story. So I got invited to trials and I'm nervous. I'm like, wow, like how quickly have my life propelled me? Like these guys from South Africa come and they say this about me, and now I'm with the big boys. So I'm at a trial game for the Barbados national team, like the first class team. And I played my first trial game. I got smoked, bro. I got mashed. I bowl like maybe 13 overs for like 80 something runs. Man, look, the guy Dale Richards near killed me. Sherwin Campbell, Philo Wallace, like all these guys like took turns and like smashing me. And everyone, it was a little crowd at the trial game as well. And they said, this kid is nothing. Man, these guys gas up these kids. These kids not ready for this big league. And guys were like surprised. But what really happened is that the surface, the pitch, was very slow. So my life balls was just standing up, and I tried to hit the deck, but the ball wasn't coming off. It was just easy.
Slow pitch.
There was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of rain. the week leading up to the trial game, and the pitch got wet, so it wasn't no pace in the pitch. And I remember that game started on Friday, so I only got one opportunity to bowl, and the game finished on the Sunday. It was a 3-day trial game, and I remember one of the selectors. I was wet behind the ears. I didn't know what was going on and stuff. And I remember one of the selectors called me this Sunday in the bar area after the game, and he said to me, he said, "Tino, you got some talent, but I don't think you're ready yet for this level. You're not going to be in the next trial game, and you need some stuff. You need your action started, and so forth, so forth. But you're not going to be a part of the trials anymore." And I was like, "Wow, like only one chance." Like, and he was like, "Yeah, because other guys are gonna come in. We're trying to look at other guys, blah blah blah." So I was like, "Okay, cool." As I walked across the cricket field with my gear bag, about to get on a maxi taxi back to my house in Hazel, I was crying. I was crying. I was crying because I never got I never got a chance. Like, everyone always beating me down. I'm too small. I'm not strong enough to make it. I will never be as good as my uncle. All these people just shouting this shit at me, man. And I was
just disappointed.
Spewing. Yeah, and I remember getting home by my mom's, and I remember I sat on the staircase and I was crying. And while I was crying, excuse me, I was crying. She said to me, are you gonna let a man stop you from achieving your dream? I said, "But Mom, he's a selector, he kicked me off the team." And she was like saying, "So what? What you need to do is go and practice. They're going to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. Just go and practice. Show an interest, I was like, "But Mom, I don't want to be pimping and thinking that I'm hard up to get a chance." She said, "Tino, if you don't show interest, people don't know you're interested. And I'm finished talking to you. I don't have nothing else to say to you. I told you my mom was my father." Yeah. And she was just giving it to me. And then I remember going back into camp on the Monday, and the guys realizing that I was out the trials, and they laughed at me. They was like, "Oh, we told you that you're just a net bowler. You're never gonna make it. You're absolute crap. Those South Africans a couple months ago just gas you up." And they're laughing because they came and watched the game, and they're mimicking like what happened. Like, "Oh, the last ball he bowled, the guy cut him over the pavilion, and bam, and mash up some cars over there." And they're laughing, and I just left the bar room, and I went to the gym, and I just train and I run, and then the Tuesday and the Wednesday I went to the practice. So I went to the Barbados team practice, and man, no one wanted to bat. When I tell you I think I bowled 100 miles an hour. Real talk, bro. No one wanted to bat me for those 2 days. At the end of the Wednesday evening, Sherwin Campbell, he comes up to me while I take my boots off, and he says to me, "Tino, why didn't you bowl like this last weekend?" And I said to him, "Sherwin Campbell, this is the great Sherwin Campbell. This is the Barbados captain." And I said to him, I said, "Master," we call him the master. I said, "Master, I was nervous, bro. I mean, there was so much expectations. I wanted to do well. People didn't rate me." And he said, "Look, you are the quickest bowler in Barbados." Like, I realize I can see it. Like, all you need is some support, bro. I was like, "Man, I'm not even in the trials anymore." He said, "No, listen to me. This is what I want you to do." Bro, like, true story, bro. I said it in my book. People freak out at this. Sherwin Campbell said to me, he said, "Tino, tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, I want you to walk with your boots and your whites and your haversack. Don't roll with your gear bike because you're not a part of it. Guys pull up every day at trials. I want you to just come. Okay? You don't know what might happen, but if something happens, I can pull you in. I will speak to one of the set." I said, "You sure?" They said, "I'm the Barbados captain." I said,
Yeah.
"Okay." I was like, "Okay, bro." I said, "Okay, cool." So Thursday morning, I went to camp the Thursday morning. I explained it to my sergeant. He said, "Okay, Tino, don't worry. Got on my bicycle, rode down to Weymouth Cricket Ground. And first session came, second session came, no one. And I got frustrated. I said, you know what? Next season is another chance, man. I'm a trying for next year, man. I know I believe in myself. Campbell say that I can do this. I know I'm good. So as I'm about to leave, I remember something my grandmother said. She said, don't ever not tell someone thank you when they're trying to help you. You know what I mean? Like, even if it don't work out, you say to them, thank you. And I put my bicycle back and I walked to the dressing room. And as I'm approaching Sherman Campbell, I say, yo, bro, I'm about to give him a fist. And I say, thanks a lot, man. You know, I'm going to shoot off. He's like, did you bring? So before I can get any of this out, right? Before I can get any of this out, bro, he goes, did you bring your boots and your clothes? I was like, huh? Ian Bradshaw said his knee is sore. He doesn't want to bowl anymore. So what basically happened in the game? Campbell 11 got bowled out for like 140 by T. So they had like 7 overs to bowl before the T interval. So Bradshaw pulls up in those bowling 3 or 4 of those overs. His knee is sore. He hates trial games. And Campbell say, go and change. I need to speak to one of the selectors. He's like, who's the selector here? So I'm absolutely in tatters because is it the same selector? Because I didn't know that selectors they come in 3s. There are 3 selectors, the captain and the coach that picks the team, 5 people. I'm saying, oh my God, but that's the selector that kicked me off last Sunday. I'm like, my heart is beating like, oh my God, he's going to say no. But it was another selector say, oh, F. Bradshaw, yeah, you can let Tino play. And ironically for me, the guy that was the other selector that I did not even know, he's a Pickwick member. So before I went in the army, I played for Pickwick. Pickwick is my first team I ever played cricket for. Big men, because remember I live 500 yards from Kensington Oval. I grew up just up the street from Kensington Oval. So Pickwick was my club. Usually my club is Umpire, which is my uncle played for many years. But I like Pickwick because they were much nicer to me than the guys at Empire. So the selector at the time, he was a top man. And he said, yeah, let Tino play, man. I mean, we need your bowler sharp and stuff. I was like, what? You should have never given me another opportunity. Bro, I put my whites on, I tied my boots so tight. And I went and I warm up just before we went back out. And I closed my eyes and I said to God, God, look, I don't want to ask you for nothing. I don't want to ask you for nothing. All I want you to just help me to just be calm. If you help me to be calm, I can express myself. Like I can really do what I know what I can do. I worth it. I know that I'm good. Bro, and I remember when we come back out now in the huddle, team, Campbell goes, all right, guys, we batted absolute crap. Let's get some wickets. We got one more session. Let's be professional, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Tino, I'm starting back with you. I was like, what? Brand new, about 7 overs old. I'm bowling the 8th over. I said, what? Bro, I bowled in that session. I bowled 12 overs or 11 overs. They took the ball out of me. I got 3 wickets for like 40 runs. I hit 3 guys in the head, made 1 retire, and everyone was freaking out. I think I bowled about 98 miles an hour that evening. Ironically for me, the last session, the TV cameras came. So the sports news were there filming all of the bowling. Like they saw everything. So on the evening when I walked off the evening of the game, everyone clapped. So they had a little crowd coming in from work, watching the game, and everyone clapped and say, wow, this kid has just put his name in the final, in the squad. We can't make this kid a reserve. This kid is more than 90 miles an hour. And my life changed from that moment, bro.
I love it.
That's how I became Tino Bass.
There we go. I mean, Tino, you talked about the like some of the emotional apprehension of kind of when you first rocked up there. Can you just like explain that a little bit further? Like, what were those nerves? What were those feelings that you were going through?
Well, when I rocked up to bowl or when I rocked up the morning?
Like you've got the Barbados captain there putting his faith in you. Because he's seen your mental drive to turn up to those nets despite the rejection, and he's actually still got confidence in you. What does that do to your emotions?
Well, I mean, it started from my mom. My mom is who started from the Sunday evening and told me to go to practice on the Tuesday and the Wednesday. So I just went to practice and I just bowl hard. And for him to come up to me and say to me, look, you're the quickest bowler in Barbados. I want you to express yourself. And then for Ian Bradshaw need to be hurting him, like, man, that's God sent. Like, I'm saying, like, that's when preparation meets opportunity. And like sometimes when I talk about it, I get goosebumps because I never know what was gonna happen. But I was always focused. I was always saying, if you give me the right environment to express myself, I know that I can do it. I know I'm a cricketer. I come from cricketing genes. I have greatness in my blood. I know I'm going to play for West Indies. Like, I don't care what no one said to me, Lewis. I knew that I was going to play for West Indies from since I saw my uncle as a 9-year-old kid score that 100 for West Indies and said, I am going to play for West Indies. So emotionally, I was always strong. Like my mom was fueling that. Like, I could have been a broken kid, but because my mom was like always in my skin, like she was always saying how you're good, you're great. Stop worrying. What you need to do is prepare yourself. Go and practice. Keep training. Eat good. Stay fit. Stay healthy. Don't worry what people say. She was always like that barrier for me, and that was what my dad was supposed to be doing. So my mom was always there for me, like grinding me all the time, bigging me up, and even pulling me up as well, telling me I'm an idiot when I was an idiot. So I always had that strength of mind. I always had that, I'm a small man, but I walk to Mount Giants.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. And it sounds like your mum's a real rock. But let's talk about the Windies now then. This series is brought to you by two magnificent sponsors, Ascot Group and McGill and Partners. Ascot Group is a global specialty insurance and reinsurance group with a record of underwriting excellence and superior claims service. Founded in 2001, the company provides a broad range of property and casualty solutions to customers worldwide through its platforms in London, Bermuda, and the United States. Ascot is a long-standing supporter of charities with a link to sport, including ongoing sponsorship of the Great Britain Wheelchair Rugby Club. With a recent increase in mental health awareness, the company is particularly proud to support Headstrong Season 5 and Innings with, which focuses on the psychological well-being challenges that arise from professional sport. McGill and Partners is a boutique insurance broker helping corporate clients find specialist solutions for their most challenging and complex risks. Growing rapidly since its launch in 2019, the company operates in the UK, Europe, and the United States and prides itself on working with some of the biggest companies in the world. And you can find out more on their website, mcgillpartners.com. McGill and Partners understands high performance and the mental health challenges that can be associated with it, regardless of the industry people are working in. The company is fully committed to their employees' well-being and are delighted to be sponsoring the Headstrong podcast series. It is also delighted to support the Ruth Strauss Foundation. Thank you to these two wonderful sponsors. Let's talk about that call up then. Where were you? What was the call up? Was it a phone call? And were you expecting it?
Well, the previous, so I made a Barbados team now January 2002.
Yeah.
So I opened the bowling. I took 20 wickets in 5 games. Got the final game of the season. I got a fifer. My first game for Barbados, I got 4 wickets for 50 runs. I got a wicket in my first over. So it was like such a sweet fairy tale. Like my mom was at Kensington. She was screaming. We played against Guyana, had like 8,000 people. Everyone came to see how quick Tino best could bowl. I didn't disappoint.
I love the Kensington Oval as well. Love it.
Yeah, this is old Kensington. I remember I had a nightmare the night before the first game.
Yeah.
I dreamt like the Kensington Oval was burst. And I ran into bowl, and the ball came out so slow, and everyone laughed. I was like, oh, you're so slow. I always had that phobia. Like, I had dreams. And I had a brilliant first game. We won my first game for Barbados. I contributed. And then I finished that season, 20 wickets, 5 games. I got an 18 call. I freaked out. Like, I couldn't believe that I was on a West Indies 18. They were fast tracking me.
Yeah.
And then I played at 18. I had an okay 18. I got 1 fifer, did well. The next season was really my season. I said Courtney Brown became the captain, who is my mentor. So he said, look, I know how to bowl you. So I played 9 games for Barbados, 2003 season, 40 wickets. So I got the West Indies call up. So I remember I was home in with my mom and the phone rang. And the president of the Barbados Cricket Association, Stephen Alley, may he continue to rest in peace. He goes, Tino, is with great pleasure and you know, great excitement to give you this news. I say, what's up? He said, you just being picked for West Indies. I dropped the phone, bro. I ran downstairs. Obviously, I got the phone on speaker, ran downstairs. He repeats himself to my mom. We start to cry. And my mom is absolutely crying. And I'm crying because she's crying. And we're like, oh my God, this is like, I say, it's like, after winning the lotto, that's what you feels like. Well, that's an amazing feeling. Like, I started crying because I couldn't believe, like, as a kid. I mean, and before 2 minutes, someone was knocking on the door. It was the press. And they had the cameras, and I was like, we were crying. And my mom, it was an exciting time. I was like, wow, I made a West Indies team. Like, and I called my uncle, and he pulled me like, you made the squad. You haven't made a team yet.
Good man.
Yeah. He was
keep you grounded, Tino.
Yeah, my uncle was always checking me, man. So it was a surreal feeling, and you know, I have that image in my Instagram. If you go through my Instagram, I always got that picture of me and my mom. I'm just about 21 years old, and I'm crying, and my mom we're just full of excitement. And I think that's a great emotion. That's a great feeling. Like, so I know how it is to get that phone call. No matter what country you play for, you get that childhood dream call. That is something you live for, bro.
Well, exactly, but it just shows what it meant to you, and that's what's so important, I think. You have played a lot of cricket now in England as well, including that season with Yorkshire as well. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the English cricket scene then? Do you like playing cricket in England? I mean, obviously the pitches differ significantly to what Barbados delivers, you know. But did you enjoy playing cricket in England? Yeah,
I love it, and Hampshire as well. Yorkshire is different. Yorkshire is traditional. The Roses game is like Barbados versus Trinidad. It is like serious energy. I love my time at Yorkshire, brother. It is one of the most incredible clubs I've played for. You know, at the end of the day, I had a real good time at Headingley. I met some amazing people. Still have good friendships to this day, and it was awesome to play. To be honest, my favorite county is Surrey. I love Surrey. I always wanted to play for Surrey. Play at the Oval, because what happened is that my grandfather, because they live in Croydon, Torrington Heath, he liked Surrey. He used to follow Surrey. So as a kid growing up, I used to hear my granddad. He would send me pictures of Surrey and you know what I mean. So when I got the opportunity to meet Keith Medlicott, he wanted, before I played for Barbados and West Indies, I played with Keith Medlicott, and he wanted to bring me up to England for the second team. So in that year that the South Africans discovered me, that was in April 2001. But in September 2001, I went and played something called the Pro-Am, which is like the England pros come down to Barbados and play.
Yeah.
In our played in like after season cricket. It's more like fun in the sun, kind of for them to let down the hair. But we play some games. So it's Keith Medlicott 11. There's a couple of legends. There's another name so you have like all the pros. So Darren Maddy plays. There's like enough pros that come down. McGrath, the Yorkshiremen everyone comes down and play these Pro-Am games. And I played with the Keith Medlicott. And Gavin Hamilton and Ed Giddens saw I was playing in the team with them. And they did an article in the paper about how quickly I can bowl. And they were freaking out. They say bowl 9. I still have the article. I will send it to you. I have it in my scrapbook. And they did a big article. And that article came out. I'll show you how crazy the life is, or how sometimes in life everything happens in the stars align. The trial game that I came back in, and I got the 3 wickets, right? And the TV camera was there. They showed live on TV on the Thursday night. So on the Friday morning, the article came out with Ed Giddens and Gavin Hamilton talking how quickly I bowled, but by Barry Wilkinson. And also there was another piece on me on the trial game. So everyone was like reading about me twice. They saw me on television at nighttime, then they're reading about me in the sports news twice. So it just goes to show you, like, everything aligns perfectly. Like nothing happens before it's time, bro. So Surrey was my team. I always wanted to play for Surrey. But I love
A
the
lot of
English
people
game.
do. It's a beautiful club.
Yeah. But Yorkshire was always that real,
Proper
team
cricket.
proper cricket. So I played for the big boys. I played for one of arguably the most successful county ever in England. That was a great experience, brother. I love cricket in England. I still play with Lashings when the opportunity presents itself. But I love cricket in England. Playing cricket in England is the best thing on earth. There's no other country I love playing cricket in other than England. England is the best place to play cricket, the best place to learn your game, and then one of the best places and the best crowds and the best people. So much atmosphere. Even playing club cricket is so competitive. It's awesome. I love playing cricket in England.
Love it. And also, speaking of tradition, of course, you've been able to play at Lord's a few times.
A few times.
But you're going to absolutely hate me for bringing it up. But I have to talk about it. You know exactly what I'm going to talk about, don't you? It's literally my favorite thing to watch. It's when Freddie Flintoff's in the slips and he's back chatting you, and you're at the crease. I don't know. Why are you down? 7 or 8 down?
Yeah, I tell you the sequence of that game.
Yeah, go on.
Back in the series in the Caribbean, it was me and Freddie at it, and and me and Freddie was at it in the Caribbean. So
bless you.
So it was me and Freddie at it in the Caribbean, and I remember in Trinidad, I knocked over NASA. He came out to bat. The umpire still had the ball in his pocket. And I ran up without the ball and bowled it, and he's go ducking, and he cusses me out, and I laugh. I say, yeah, I'm in his skin. So every time I came into bat, he would give me a little chirp, or I would give him a little chirp. So at Lord's, so fast forward a couple months now, I'm at Lord's. I'm suffering from a stress fracture. So every time I go down to bat, I can feel the pain in my leg. So Ashley Giles, holding the Caribbean series, every time he bowled, I chip, I hit him back over his head for 6. I hit him for a couple of outings in the Caribbean. I felt confident against him. Ashley Giles, not a great turner of the ball. He's going to always get the ball drifting at you. I backed myself against him. And as I come out to bat, I hear Freddie mind the windows. And I wasn't really taking it on, But I just couldn't stand Ashley Giles. I just wanted to hit him to the moon, bro. I think Freddie knew that as well.
Yeah. I think he knew it. He knew it from you.
Yeah, he knew that. He knew he didn't. I didn't rate Ashley, and he's like, mind the windows, Tino. And I just chipped, bro, and I missed, man. And everyone was on me, for every time I go to England, mind the windows.
Literally every time.
Every time. And I remember 2007. I came back for the first time since the incident, or 2006. I think I came at 18 tour 2006.
Yeah.
And I didn't really hear much people say to me. And then 2007, I came back with Lashings. And I was hearing it. And I said, well, what are you guys talking about? Is that a thing? He was like, yeah, there's supposed to be a funny thing in England. Like me. I was like, for real? Because in the Caribbean, we don't hear, no one tells me that. I bowl at 90 plus miles an hour. No one's going to tell me mind the windows. I'll break your rib or hit you in the head. So I was like, so David Forbes, he said to me, Tino, don't get upset at it. Laugh at it. It is a great marketing tool. Trust me.
Yeah.
Use it.
Embrace
so I was like,
it.
for real? Yeah, I was like, but they're kind of like disrespecting me. He's like, no, they're not. They like you. People
it's
like
endearing.
You. Yeah, they like you, Tino. And plus, you're like, they can connect with you. Don't worry about it. Just love it. And from that day, that was summer 2007. I embraced it. I was like, okay, if I go England and because they mind the windows, I was like, yeah. And then everyone would be like, yeah, Tino, you're awesome. And I always, at the back of my mind, I said, the next time I play against England, I'm going to burst their backside. I'm going to cream their bowling. And 2012 was the first time I played against England since 2004, bro. Yeah. So
that's a long time.
I walk out, a long time, so 7 years. So I walk out to bat. And I mean, I'll play in international cricket between that period, but I didn't get to play against England in England. Yeah. So when I walk out the bat, Sunil Narine was making his debut. So I was coming back into the team for the first time in 2.5, nearly 3 years. So I was 31 now. So 10 and a half years since I made my debut. I was a much more mature player. A lot of things I've let pass and I've matured. And as I walked out of Edgbaston, I remember it was cool. And Stephen Finn bowled a length ball, and I missed it. And the guys started to chirp. Well, Bo Finny, you know, a little bit of chirp. They didn't tell me to mind the windows, to be honest. But I remember after playing that shot, I marked my crease. And I remember a tweet that Freddie said. He said, Tino Best has just come back into the West Indies team. I don't think the English boys will lose much sleep over him. Mind the windows, Tino. And he laughed. I was like, okay, Freddie. But I was going to reply something personal and say something that happened. But I say, man, nah, I'll let Freddie be Freddie. I'll leave him alone and just concentrate on my cricket. So I said, this is the day for you to knock that monkey off your back, Tino. They don't know you were an opening batsman until you're about 16, 17, and you just stop worrying about batting. And I just went berserk. 95 and 112 balls.
Love it.
Highest score by a number 11 in the history of Test cricket. So I held the record for a year until a real number 5, Ashton Agar, who was a proper batsman, 98. But my thing is that I went to hit a 6 with my 100. I didn't care. I didn't care about getting 100. I'm just trying to show them I can bat. Like I'm not a rabbit. And then I got up for 95, and that was it. I mean, it was amazing knock. But my main emphasis was batting. And then the way I bowled against England, I think I got 2 for 30 from 30. I bowled quick. I got up to 94, 95 miles an hour at 31 years old. I got Strauss out, bowled down Burstow. I knew how he bat from Yorkshire days.
Yeah, of course.
And I had a magnificent comeback. And I got man of the match as well. And that, for those 3 years that I wasn't in the West Indies thing, I was watching Fire in Babylon every single day after practice. So when I played for Barbados, I walked with the CD, the DVD. Every day, every moment I watching Fire in Babylon. And that helped me push harder. I say, anytime I get back on the international circuit, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shock the world. And I did that, bro. So, I mean, that was a little moment for me to feel good about. So it made me even feel better about Mind the Windows. So every time they say, Mind the Windows, I say, don't forget the 95.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
It's good that you learned to embrace that. I think it's, whoever told you that, it was a good marketing. It was so true. It's a crowd pleaser.
David Forbes. David, give him big respect. David Forbes from Lashings All Stars. David Forbes told me, man, embrace it, bro. Don't fight it. You're a talented cricketer. The people that are making the sport, they never even played a match at Lords, for the most a test match. Embrace it. And I did that, man. Yeah, that's the best advice.
It's very, very good advice. I mean, you've had a great career, Tino, in terms of cricket, but everything else as well. But you have found yourself, you're no stranger to injury as well, and that's fair to say, isn't it? And that probably comes with the strain that you put your body under and everything like that. But how do you struggle, or did you struggle kind of being in and out of various different teams? Because you know, as you said there, you spent 3 years out of the Windies team through whatever reasons it may have been. But did you find it difficult of hopping from team to team, or were you kind of focused on yourself and your own cricket?
No, I was never a problem with injuries. I got one injury in 19 years, a stress fracture.
Yeah.
It put me out of cricket for 7 months. I popped my hamstring. I bowled with a pop hamstring in Bangladesh. Got 3 or 4 injections. Got my best figures on one leg, 6 for 40 on the flattest wicket in the world. So injuries. I bowled with a side strain, tear from my obliques. Totally. If you look at the X-ray, you saw it open up. I bowled with that. I got another 6 for 60. So bowling with injuries was nothing new to me. But I was not out of cricket for a long period. I only had one serious injury. Never had a surgery. And my side strain, it healed in 3 weeks. Ironically, I don't know why it healed. It was supposed to be 7 weeks. It healed in 3. My hamstring healed in 3 weeks. I guess I had crazy muscle fibers. But in the Caribbean, bro, me out of the team was not about talent. It was more about politics.
Yeah.
About who the captain wanted at that particular time. I was always dominant for Barbados. If you look at my record regionally, I was the most dominant fast bowler for like a 10, 12-year period. There was no bowler better than me in regional cricketing. But in these islands, bro, it's not how talented you are. It's not about how good you are. It's all about who's in charge, who's running things. So if who's running don't like you, Lewis, I think you struggle. So that's why I went and played some Yorkshire cricket. I went and played with Hampshire. I played with Lashes. I played with my native Barbados for so long. I got the record for Barbados. I've ever had the same opportunity for West Indies that I had for Barbados. I would have had 250 test wickets, bro. I'm not saying I would have had 500 test wickets. I would have had minimum 250 test wickets easily. I would have been a top bowler. But I never had the I played 25 tests in 11 years. That can't come down to talent, bro. That is politics. That's the truth. Because if you're dominating first class cricket, you can't try and tell me that my name should have been. I was always the fittest. I was always the strongest. I was always the fastest. There's no bowler in the Caribbean that bowled faster than me between 2002 to 2017 when I done playing. I even went to the Masters cricket and I bowled 144 at age 40. I'm 40 years old.
I love it.
3 months.
I know, that's epic.
Bro, they have never been stronger or fitter than me. But my energy, the same things people love you for, the same thing people hate you for. And that it was always against me in these small islands. It was never about how talented I was. But when you look at my record, I mean, originally, come on. It was all about who they wanted, who people block you in this part of the world a lot. And I was one of those players that got blocked a lot. But that's water under the bridge. I don't dwell on it, bro. I got what was for me. And I'm still getting. I'm now into strength and conditioning. I do my studies. I just passed my personal fitness course. I'm doing my S&C course now. I got a nutrition course to do. I got a corrective lifting course to do, and I'm doing it on the ISA, the International Sports and Science Association of America. So I'm being certified, and that's my passion. I train every day, Lewis. I train twice a day, 5 days a week. I always keep the guns going. I always keep the guns, and I'm into nutrition and I'm into helping people achieve their jobs. Achieve their goals.
Yeah.
I have 12 clients that come. I have a home gym. I got 12 people that come to me on a daily basis to train, and they look phenomenal. They feel phenomenal about themselves. I'm the strength and conditioning coach for Zooks in the CPL. So I've moved on. I moved on to my passion. I was in TV a little bit, but obviously different people take over, so they're pushing other people, and that I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? But I am doing what I love to do, which is fitness, which is health, and I absolutely love it, bro.
I love it. I follow you on Instagram and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
I want to have a look at. I just want to quickly touch on the West Indies team in the current climate. I want to talk about, as a pundit, let's put your pundit cap back on, and I want to kind of talk about what you think the West Indies cricket team is going through now compared to what you went through in terms of the political side of things and where it stands in its cricketing world, and leading on to the T20 World Cup that's coming up at the end of the year. What do you think is going to happen there? And also, is West Indies cricket in a good place at the moment?
Yeah, let me start with the last question. I think West Indies cricket is in a good place right now, to be honest, especially the test team. I love the test team. There's no egos in that test team. There's no big IPL stars that don't want to play because they're preparing themselves for IPL. Nothing. You know what I mean? So that test team, which is, to me, the purest form of the game, which I absolutely love. I think they're doing really well against Sri Lanka. Craig Bradford is the new captain. And what that does is allow Jason Holder to be the best cricketer that he can be. He doesn't have the pressure. And the team is going to build themselves around him. And even though he's not the captain, but he's the number one all-rounder and he's a quality cricketer. So really and truly, the test team is in a good place. West Indies cricket is in a good place. So that is good. When they come down to the T20 World Cup, I'm not sure what combinations they're going to go with, but they need to involve Andre Russell. Once they get Andre Russell going, I think that the team can build themselves around him, and they can be competitive. I'm not sure if they can win the World Cup T20, but when I really look at it, I don't think why they shouldn't win it World Cup. That's the honest truth, because West Indies are the most talented team. They've got the best finishers and the best cricketers. I think the England as well is a very good team. But I don't see England beating West Indies on their day. That's the honest truth. Like, if West Indies play to their potential, England have no chance, brother. And at the end of the day, I think that India as well is a good team. But tournament cricket, that's what it comes down to, bro. Series cricket is cool.
Yeah, of course.
But tournament cricket, West Indies are the double defending champions in the T20 World Cup. When it comes to tournament cricket, West Indies just turn up. You can't write them off, brother. So I think moving forward, West Indies cricket, I think they're in a good place. at the end of the day, once the insularity and stuff comes out the cricket and finds it ways to exit from wrong people's existence, I think that's when you're going to see an even better product of West Indies cricket, because the talent is there, brother. We have the most gifted cricketers on earth, but it's all about management. How are we going to manage our cricketers and stuff? So I would like to see West Indies managing, West Indies selectors managing the team, like how England manage their team. I think England have a tremendous team, a wonderful one-day team. They have every single good cricketer. They have a leg spinner. They have a fast bowler. They have openers. They have middle order batsmen. A wonderful team. You know what I mean? So the way how England managed that squad is what I would love to see how West Indies manage their squads.
It would be interesting to see what it would be like if the management and the infrastructure was there permanently. You know what I mean? And from that level would be fantastic. And hopefully, it's certainly on its way there. Compared to probably from your days of political cricket, certainly heading in the right direction, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think back in the day, what have been so grievous to the players is the boards. I look, from the days of Sagarfi, look, you hear this all the time in the dressing room with the players. You hear from my uncle heard from the generation before him, leading right back to the 1920s when we first started. The board always take more than what they give the players, and players have always gotten peanuts from the board. When guys were making 20,000 in the 50s and 60s, we were getting paid $100, and we were very good. So the disparity was always a big gap between that. When I first made Barbados team, I got paid $150 to play a first class game, brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
compared
crazy.
compared to what the test made. The test players were getting paid $4,000. So you had to play for West Indies to make a good living. So that's something that pushed me even harder. So the players for many years, the board have been taking, and the players haven't gotten it. Every time that a new board come in, or new whatever structure come in, they get all the TV money for themselves and never they hardly look after the players. So I think that it might be changing now. Players, I think the best thing and the worst thing has happened for world cricket in terms of West Indies, franchise cricket. When I get a good IPL and make $1 million. Andrew Russell makes 1.7 million US a season in the IPL.
I know.
When he plays for West Indies, he makes 2,000 US a game.
You see why? Yeah.
Correct. The retainer contracts in the West Indies are 150,000 US.
No, I feel you.
Comparison to what? IPL and those things and other leagues around the world. So I think the best thing that has happened, and the worst thing has happened as well. So and West Indies, we live in a small market. That's one of the things that really hurts the West Indies players as well. The board is not able to give out $1 million contract or $500,000 US contract because they don't have that money coming in terms of big TV deals and so forth. After they start to get those things, then that will improve, and I think the players will improve, and the player will improve, and the product will look a lot better to invest in for outside people to invest in. But I think they're on the right track now, and I wish them all the best. That's the honest truth.
I agree. Right, Tino, this is the last question that I ask every guest that comes on my podcast. What does the word headstrong mean to you?
Headstrong. I'll tell you what it means in my family. It means hard ears, own way, and mischievous.
So you.
That is me. That was me one time. But no, man, I'm a good boy. I'm a saint. I have one girlfriend and she lives with me, and I'm a good boy. I'm not a player anymore.
Oh my God, Tino, I love it. Oh my God. Well, look, I've really enjoyed this. When I'm next out in Barbados, we'll have to go for a Banks, and then we'll do a workout before as well. But
Definitely.
Yeah, look, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Man, thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, I wish you all the best, and stay safe. Yeah, look after yourself.
Yeah. Same to you, brother. Peace and love, manners and respect all the time, my brother. Respect.
We are supporting the Ruth Strauss Foundation with Headstrong and Innings with. Sir Andrew Strauss lost his wife to non-smoking lung cancer in 2018. Just before her death, Ruth and Andrew discussed the idea of setting up a foundation to help other families who would be facing a similar ordeal. The Ruth Strauss Foundation wants to ensure that all families with dependent children facing the death of a parent are offered emotional support and guidance to prepare for the future, allowing them to make the most of their time together. In tandem, they are driving the need for more research and collaboration in the fight against non-smoking lung cancers, which are on the rise and to which Ruth ultimately lost her life. You can support their cause by making a donation today. To donate, text RSF10 to 70191 to donate £10. Or you can donate online at virginmoneygiving.com/fund/Headstrong/RSF. Thank you for all your support of Headstrong and the Ruth Strauss Foundation. And that's it for this bonus episode of Headstrong. Thank you very much indeed to Tino Best for joining me and replying to my message on Instagram to have a chat on Headstrong. I really enjoyed that episode, and I have to say it didn't take much prep for me, so thanks Tino. If you've enjoyed this episode, there are plenty more in the series with loads of cricketers including Jason Holder, Dom Bess, Joss Butler and many, many more. On Monday will be my final episode with the man that is Sir Andrew Strauss. Now, if you have enjoyed this series as well, please do share it with anybody that might like cricket, and indeed anyone that doesn't like cricket, because I've got a number of other guests that I have talked to in a similar fashion. For now though, that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me on Headstrong.